All right, we're back. It's next week. Starting the day out, hanging out with the ladies a little bit. Chugging, chugging, chugging. Holy crap, you're almost done. You are chugging it. You drinking that fast too? No, slower. Settle down, lady. Are you all done? You're just playing with it now? You done? Oh, you got milk on your face. I know I've mentioned it a bunch before, but it really is tough to find time to work on this sort of stuff. I work a lot during the week, usually starting pretty early in the morning, and then take a little break to hang out with the ladies before they go to bed and kind of help out Tanya in the evening. Usually get back on the computer to do some more work at the end of the day. That's not always the case, but when it's not the case, normally I want to use that time to hang out with Tanya instead. So, yeah, it's just nice. On the weekends, it's tough to kind of, what do I use that time? What do I use the weekend time for? Tanya's been taking care of the kids the majority of the time, all week, every single weekday while I work. So that's her work. And then I've got my work. So then on the weekend, either she doesn't get a day off or I don't get a day off, no matter what. But when we're taking care of the kids at the same time, it's nice on a couple of fronts. One, it's easier to take care of them when there's two people, and it's just nice to spend time with them. So it doesn't leave a whole lot of time. That's a really valuable chunk of time that we get every week, and it is nice to spend time as a family. And we can't really do family time and car stuff very well yet, because they're just not old enough. So yeah, that's why I'm already usually slow, but right now it's very little amount of time on this, and because I'm so slow, it means very little amount of progress, because I don't get a whole lot done in the same amount of time that most people do. So that's just how it is. Anyway, got a bunch of stuff from Amazon to do, hopefully, a couple of things uninterrupted, waiting for parts or anything like that. I think I've got what I need to do, knock a couple of more things out. We got some sealer for the inside of the car so that we can seal up all around the cage bars and everything. Nick and the guys did a great job of tinning around the bars, but we're gonna seal it up completely around them. So there's only a tiny gap to fill in. Got a bunch of these fittings, both for some airline stuff for the boost control, or I guess shifter and boost control. So right now this comes through the firewall, or the right behind the passenger compartment. So directly from the tank, it comes into the regulator, and then from the regulator, it goes out to, shifter and boost control stuff. But there's no bleed or anything like that. So it just kind of slowly leaks, nothing's a perfect seal. So eventually the tank does drain all the way down. But I'm wanting to put a little valve on here so that if I know I'm gonna be out of the car and store it for a while, I can go ahead and just relieve the pressure. So I've got a bunch of these fittings. I don't know how good a quality these are, we'll see. Got a bunch of O-rings, the highest temp, I guess, we could find. We'll see how good a quality those are as well. I did also put a little bit of RTV around the flange itself. I forgot to video this before I put everything on, but got the O-ring in there. It's perfect size. I think the depth of it was 2.75, and then the O-ring thickness itself was a little bit over 3 millimeters. So hopefully that's enough squish for that O-ring to work. And if it's not, we got a bunch of RTV on there. So that should be good to go. Got the downpipe and the wastegate all hooked back up. And so really all I gotta do is hook up the airline and the feed line, and we're good. Mount's already tightened down. Oh, actually I gotta do the actual T6 flange. And then put the pipe back on, and we should be in business. I shouldn't have to worry about any leaks anymore at all. Maybe transmission, but speaking of transmission, that's the other thing that these fittings are for. These are a little bit larger, 1/4 inch, because what I'm wanting to do is put this little guy in here. So instead of having this just vent out the top, this is for the transmission. So any fluid expansion or, from overflow, it's going to come to this line at the bottom, which I'll change that out for a push lock as well. And then let's say for some reason this thing fills all the way up. I don't want it to just be able to come out of that top there, because this is going to be under the bed, kind of like on that back firewall, but you know, down low. And so I'm going to run a line from the top of this instead all the way to, maybe not all the way to the back, but definitely to a point where if it did just puke a bunch of fluid out, it's not going to get on the tire. So far enough back to where air dispersion, you know, if I'm going like 100 and, you know, whatever mile an hour, that it won't be able to get on the front of the tires. So at least to like right in this area, dump it somewhere here. Okay, so everything's back together. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the more I work on this, the better acquainted I'm going to get with how everything comes apart and goes together. It's pretty user-friendly, so hopefully I'm not blowing turbos left and right to where I have to take that on and off, but if I had to, like, really not a big deal at all. Even getting this pipe on, everything's so accessible on the turbo that it doesn't even make sense to kind of fight with this clamp or that clamp to get it in there. Just stick it all the way in that one where I actually need it, and then just loosen up the comp housing on this, rotate it back, put the pipe in, rotate it back, tighten it up. Yeah, everything's just real nicely put together. So next thing, I'm not actually sure what the next thing is going to be, but it's going to have to be a little bit later because I got to go help with the kids. So I will be back maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, not sure. We'll see. All right, it's the next day or 2 days later. I don't know, I can't remember. So kept fiddling with this, nothing major. The last thing that I did was just put a valve, just like a relief valve for the air system. So the air is being used for both the boost controller and the shifter. I just kind of like the idea of being able to turn or release all of the air so that it's not just constantly, you know, putting pressure on everything in the system, the solenoids, things like that. I don't know if it really matters all that much, but it is, I think, kind of nice to just, if I know I'm putting the car away for a while, I shut off the car, I'm just going to open that valve, let all the pressure out, and that way I know it's not sitting there under pressure the whole time. So anyway, next thing is getting this little catch can in here. So I think where I'm going to put it is right on this back area here. So, oh, I forgot to say that line right there is where the pressure relief exits. So that way it's outside of the cab. It's super quiet inside, so should be good. But I think I want to put that catch can there. Hopefully that might be crooked, I'm not sure, but we'll mount it there, and then it should be easy to get the transmission line that currently runs. Where do I have it dump in? I think it just dumps right here. Yeah, it's this little line right here. So that's for the overflow for the transmission. I've just got it rigged up right here because I had some line laying around, but I knew this catch can was coming, so hopefully there's enough length that I could just go directly to the catch can once I mount it. And then the only extra line that I need to use is coming out of the top of that can, and we'll probably run it along these bars in some way or along the frame to the rear of the car, and then I'll put a or that'll just be an open exit, just like an open vent. And then the bottom of the can, I think I'm also going to replace this because like if I want to drain this can, I got to get all the way under there and actually undo this and have a pan right under it. I think I might also replace this with like a 90-degree fitting or something, and then put one of those same valves that I use for the air release all the way back here, so that if I ever want to drain it, car all the way down on the ground, I don't have to jack it up or anything like that, and it'll be easy to just drop a pan just barely under the car and then open the valve and drain it out. I think it'll be worth the effort. It's not adding a crazy amount of weight. This is all just like plastic line and stuff, aluminum can, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I think it turned out pretty good. Squeeze under here. I should have invested in a lift. Okay. All right. Okay, so you can kind of see that there. Line from the top, which is the vent, I guess, if this thing fills entirely up. Well, it's gonna allow the fluid to go on that line. That goes all the way to the back. I'll show you that here in a second. This line is the line from the transmission. Luckily, it was long enough, so I was able to just reuse that line, go right up into the can. And then this line, this is where the drain line used to be, so I did end up replacing that with just a 90 right out the can, but then I just ran the line to this valve right here. Now, I did talk about that a second ago, wanting that to be all the way in the back. Decided not to do that just because I can't figure out, or I don't think there is a pathway that isn't going to have to go up and then down. And where the valve is actually going to be is pretty close to inline, or maybe even a little bit higher than the can. So I wasn't sure if it was going to really drain all that great. So I don't know. We're going to try it out here and see how it is. It's super easy to just, lay down next to the car and grab it real quick. I did want to make sure that both the can location, because I could have put this way over here to the outside of the car. Decided to put it there just in case. I'm just trying to account for as many possibilities of failures as possible. So if any of these fittings started leaking, or even this one started leaking, I try to keep everything as close to the inside of the car as possible, so that wherever it may happen, whether it's as I'm going down the track or, maybe even, just right after my burnout or something like that. So I do a long burnout, and then as I'm backing up, even if, let's say this outlet was behind the tire, over back on the rear bumper, if it leaked a drop or something like that, I could accidentally back up into that fluid. Now the risk is still here, even if it's not directly in line with the car. Like if I do a burnout and then I have to shift myself over to a different side, or not a different side, but a different area in the track. Like if I'm offset from the groove and then I move over a little bit, what was the dripping out of the center of the car could end up right on my tire. So it's not like it eliminates all possibility, but just trying to lower the possibility. So then back here, I just ran the line all the way, same place that this wiring harness goes, all the way to the back, and then just tied it up here. I don't know what I'll do with that in the end. Like if I get a bumper back here, then maybe I'll actually face this directly out and poke a little hole through it. What I wanted to make sure of is, I thought about just putting a line down here, but if there's constantly air going past it, I don't want it to actually create kind of a negative pressure and try to suck fluid out of that can or out of the transmission. So I'm just gonna leave it and see how it does where it sits. If this thing pukes out a bunch of fluid, and it's gonna get all over our lines and stuff like that, but if that thing's puking out fluid, I got bigger problems to worry about. So not a huge deal. Anyway, we'll see how all of that goes. It's supposed to be cold next couple of days, so I'll probably take some time to start doing some of the interior, sealing up the cracks and stuff like that. But probably won't do any tuning until at least the weekend, maybe the following week. We'll see. But not a whole lot of time before we got to head out to Colorado for work and family stuff. So we will, I'll try to get as much done as possible. I'd really like to be driving this thing around before we head out to Colorado, if not as soon as we get back. So keep chipping away at it, 2 hours at a time. All right, thanks for watching. Talk to you guys later.